Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Woodbridge, the best town around. And today you are going to see why we are the best town as we gather here for the annual Have a Heart food drive. This is something that started way back many, many years ago, probably in the 90s. Have a Heart is tied to Valentine's Day. We ask companies, individuals to donate $214 or 214 pounds of food by 214 Valentine's Day. Typically, January and February are very low days for food pantries and soup kitchens. People pay a lot of attention around Thanksgiving and the holidays in December, and then things kind of always tail off in the next couple of months in the middle of the winter. So we started this many, many years ago, as I said, to replenish the food banks from all that they use during the holidays. So this is a great day. Normally, when we have this event in early January, it's a kickoff. But today, we're happy to announce that we have been doing this since the first of the year. Today is only the 14th. We have collected over $50,000 already, and the drive is still 30 days away, 31 days away. And that's because of the people standing behind me that we're going to introduce and ask to speak. But that's more than we've gotten any year since I've been around as mayor. That's more than we've gotten in a whole entire year, and we've gotten that much in 2 weeks. So it's an absolutely terrific effort by the people here and everybody watching. We'll mention all the companies and have several of them speak. We also really made a conscious effort during the virus, during COVID-19, to ask for donations to We Feed Woodbridge, and people just come out from town and just are so generous and so helpful. And we're happy to say that you're a whole lot less likely to go to bed hungry in Woodbridge because of the efforts of all the people around me. Let me introduce some of the people who won't be speaking, who are up here, mainly our council people. To my left is Councilwoman Debbie Meehan, 5th Ward of Colonia, who every year runs a drive with the Colonia business community, and they do Taste of Colonia at the Colonia Country Club. That all is postponed, or canceled, I should say, because of COVID. So they were unable to do that this year, but Debbie still is a big advocate for the food drive. Debbie, thank you for being here. All the way back there is Councilman Greg Ficara, and over here is Councilwoman Nancy Drum. Greg is at large. Nancy is the 1st Ward covering Woodbridge proper. And C. Warren, next to Nancy, is former Councilwoman and current Chief of Staff and Head of Redevelopment, Carolyn Ehrlich. So they're all here to show their support for the administration. I would first like to call up one of the best benefactors in Woodbridge Township history. This young man has had a business in town for, I guess, close to 60 years now. I remember going to his 50th anniversary, so he's got to be closing in on 60. Whatever happens in town, you can pretty much be sure that Sansone's Route 1 Auto Mall is involved, and he has taken, since I've been mayor, since before that, back in the 90s, when we started running our concerts, Paul Sansone had the idea to donate some kind of gift, and then people would get an automatic raffle ticket when they came to the concert for every can or box of non-perishable foods that they donated. Same thing, over the summer it gets light, there's no school, people are on vacation, so the contributions to food banks are lower than normal. So Paul started this, and I would probably guess that if we're not close to 1 million pounds of food since Paul started this. We started the concerts in 1999. So they've been going for 20 years. If we haven't gotten close to 1 million pounds of food, I'd be surprised. So he has been an amazing benefactor. So many other things in town are successful because Paul Sansone and his company, Sansone's Route 1 Auto Mall, and his generosity. So I'd like to turn the microphone over now to Paul Sansone of Sansone's Route 1 Auto Mall.
Thank you, Mayor. It's a pleasure to be part of Woodbridge Township. Great administration, great people in the town, and it's always a pleasure to give where it's needed. When I found out that the township had to buy food to give to their people that are in need, I felt it was my obligation and my desire to give more. And every year we're giving more and more to help the people of Woodbridge Township. It's a pleasure. By the way, Mayor, I celebrated my 60th, August 1 of last year. in Woodbridge. In Woodbridge. And it's been a great run, and I want to thank you very much for all the support that you've given me. And now we're bringing my son Jeffrey into the picture. You know, the bright young star is here and will be taking over in 10 or 15 years when I'm not around. And he's going to follow in my footsteps, I'm sure, because we have a desire to be part of Woodbridge forever. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, if we could take a picture. First of all, I didn't know you were Jeffrey. I think the last time I saw you, you came up to my knees. That's amazing. I did not know you were Paul's son. Congratulations. Come on up front, Paul. Next up, we have Amy Krasinski from RSVP Bank. Amy actually made the donation a month or so ago. We took pictures outside of her branch outside of Town Hall on Berry Street, right at the intersection of Broadway Avenue and Main Street. For those of you who need banking or loans or anything else, Amy, please come on up for another picture.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Amy Krasinski. I am a Senior Business Development Officer with RSVP Bank. We're based out of Broadway. We have our 2 branches in Broadway, Colonia, and our newest office in Woodbridge, which Mayor was telling you guys previously. RSI has been a major sponsor to We Feed Woodbridge for the past several years. We are extremely honored to be a part of this. We believe as an organization, no one should go hungry, and we really want to recognize the Mayor and Peter Barcelona for the great work they do in this town. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, another annual donor, Northfield Bank, Angie Serkis, who also is the current chairman of the board, right, of the Woodbridge Chamber of Commerce. So she's very, very active. I'd like to ask Angie to come up for the check presentation. First, you want to say a few words?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good morning, everybody. Northfield Bank is very proud to be supporting this organization for many years. Excuse me, like the mayor said, Peter Barcelona and the mayor and the whole township does a wonderful job, and we are proud to be a part of it because we want to make a difference to Woodbridge and this wonderful town, because it is the best town around. Thank you.
All right, next up is a man who runs, I think, the most busiest, most popular restaurant in Woodbridge Township. So if he asks you to think about that for a minute, go ahead, think about it for a minute. And then I'm going to tell you the answer, which is ChickfilA on Route 1 and Route 35 at the plaza there. Marlon Terrell has started that franchise many, many years ago. I just was talking to him before. I understand now he's involved in one in Linden. You can't get into Chick-fil-A. Marlon, you got to get like 5 more drive-thrus or something. Every time I go there, there's 20 cars in line. And I don't have that kind of time being the mayor of the great township of Woodbridge to sit there that long. But it is a fantastic business, and Marlon has been involved in town. I know you're working with Kyle and some other people on the group there and helping out with young kids and entrepreneurship. You're doing a great job for Woodbridge Township. Please say a few words about Chick-fil-A, and then we'll do another check presentation.
Thank you very much, Mayor. When I got the call from the Have a Heart Foundation and just saw the email from the mayor, it just made sense for us to be part of this. This is our first year, and we plan to make this an annual thing. Just standing on the back of Truett Cathy, who is the owner of the Chick-fil-A Foundation, as you all know, we're not a Christian company, but we're built off biblical principles. And standing on his shoulders, one of the big things that Truett was about was a Bible verse called Matthew 5:4-1. And that's when a man asks you to go with him a mile, go with him, please go with him another. And so we operate in a lens of second mile service, as well as just going further than what we're asked to do. And so when we're asked for this opportunity to give 214 by February 14th, we just knew we had to be part of this going forward, as well as giving more than just the 214 today. So thank you for your time, Mayor. Thank you for this opportunity. I mean, Have a Heart food drive is definitely going to make sense to be part of this, being that we are a food organization. We have other operators. One of the operators that will be coming in town today, and hopefully we'll be meeting Paul later, named Kevin Williams, will be coming up to share with his book, Rational Kindness, because that's what it is about. It's just doing the irrational, kind things in a world today where you see a lot of irrational, not so kind things. And so we just want to keep growing and keep being a part of this community. Thank you.
Come on up front. I just got a text from Taco Bell. They said they're the busiest restaurant in Woodbridge. And you know what? It's pretty close, because every time you drive by there's cars all over the place too, right? You two places are absolutely crazy. Now I'd like to call up Karen Barnes, who is the Executive Director of the Woodbridge Chamber of Commerce. Karen?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Everyone standing behind me, I'm so proud to be part of this organization. Everyone that made a donation is a member of the Chamber of Commerce. So our organization, we are so blessed, and we're blessed with the relationship we have with the township, and we are always trying to help our businesses, help the town. So on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce, we are making a donation to Have a Heart, and we'll continue to do whatever we can to support the best town around. Thank you.
All right. I think that slogan's taken off. Atlantic Realty and the Halpern family are not here. They are very shy and reserved about their involvement. They don't want any real publicity, but they made the single largest contribution to We Feed Woodbridge during 2020, right in the height of the pandemic, and I just want to thank them. I'm not allowed to even say how much it is. They just don't want that out there. But let me tell you, it's a big number, and we greatly appreciate Atlantic Realty and the Halpern family, so thank you to you. Before going into the other side of the situation, which is the donees, let me thank other donors who gave during the year. Boy Scout Troop 53 in Fords, George Dapper Busing Inc., Girl Scout Troop 80106, Anne Marie Fahey, Marianne and Thomas Rack, James Maloney Jr., Angela Sinnis, ISSO Temple, Our Lady of Peace Church Social Concerns Ministry, Siwa Diwali, Craig and Letitia Coughlin, Maureen and Frank Giuliano, American Towing and Services Center, Edison Wetlands, Lindcrest School 22 faculty and staff, OS Dunnigan Plumbing in Woodbridge, Joanne Vetland, Carol DiStefano, Joey Kennedy, PK Architecture, Ayush and Deb Desai, Jerry Volpe, Wayne and Linda Pasco, Mike and Nicole Wilson, Eleanor and John Bites, Damian Granrath and Kevin Dugan, Woodbridge Elks, and Colonia Elks. Let's hear it for all of those entities. And now to give you a feel for the program, Peter Barcelona is our, I call him the middleman. That's usually not a good term, but in this case it is. He's responsible for getting the food from the donors to the donees. He works for our health department. Of course, we give him all the time off he needs to do these kind of things. And he works with our 11 food pantries and coordinates everything. He takes the cash and turns it into food. He'll explain that. But he is really the conscience of the We Feed food effort. He goes back in his involvement to the 90s when this all started. So I would like to thank Peter for everything that he has done for this cause and ask him to say a few words.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, without the mayor's support and Carolyn's support, without our business community support, our civic community support, our general citizens of Woodbridge, we've been humbled by your generosity and your willingness to help us maintain our food pantries. We are a network of 11 food pantries. Pre-pandemic, we served 600 families. We're now well over 1,300 families, as well as providing food to families that are COVID positive, making sure everybody has enough to eat. The generosity of the community has been overwhelming, but as I said, we are very humbled by the support. Our organization is 100% volunteer driven. The monies that we collect is shared equally amongst our pantries. Some of our pantries belong to the Community Food Bank of Hillside. All our pantries belong to McFoods, which is the county network. So we're getting food weekly from the county, from our warehouse in East Brunswick. We get food from Hillside Warehouse, which is a state warehouse. We partner with Wegmans, ShopRite, Stop and Shop, Wawa, Panera Bread, and any other local places that we could actually tap into. So the need is great, but the support has been even greater. And so on behalf of all those that work at our food pantries, I say thank you from the bottom of our hearts for your continued support of We Feed, which the mayor said was founded in 1992. I was a part of that founding, and so it's taken on a whole new way that I would never imagine in 28 years, but due to the pandemic, we're able to maintain status quo. So on behalf of our clients that we serve, that I have the privilege of serving every day, those that come to us for help, and on behalf of our volunteers of the We Feed Network, I thank everyone for their contribution.
Thank you, Peter. When Peter says his involvement, I can't remember if it was a text or a phone call, but somebody got a hold of me a couple of months ago and said Peter just left their house. He was somebody home with COVID, and Peter himself dropped off food to the guy's house. It's just amazing the effort that Peter puts through. So thank you again to Peter Barcelona. We've talked about our monetary donors. Our largest food donor for the last many, many years has been Wegmans. And I'd like to now call up Morgan Eager from Wegmans and ask you if you'd like to say a few words on behalf of your company.
Hello, thank you for having us here today as Wegmans. And first off, I just need to thank you, Mayor, for even allowing us to be a part of such a beautiful thing, giving families all these food, all these donations. I think we can all say during this pandemic, this has really shown us what it is to come together during one of the worst things that I think could happen to our beautiful world. So I thank you for that, for allowing Wegmans to be a part of this. I can definitely speak on behalf of not just Woodbridge Wegmans, but Wegmans is a family-owned company. We have over 100 stores. We're hoping to open another 20 stores within the next year, and that's because we take pride and we do care with all of our hearts to partner with these beautiful organizations that help those in need, and we aren't afraid to reach out and make those donations and be a part of those things. And it's really what I personally enjoy. I didn't introduce myself. My name's Morgan. I'm a front-end manager with Wegmans in Woodbridge right now, and I have the luxury to be a part of the community giving program where we find beautiful donations, beautiful places to give our money that we are so lucky to have right now to people that are in need. So we thank you, and Wegmans always puts others first. We are not about ourselves. Danny Wegmans himself had said, always put others first before yourselves, and we try and live that out every day that we run our stores. So we just need to say thank you. I love Woodbridge. I've been working in the Woodbridge location for about 4 years now. Wouldn't want it any other way. It's a beautiful town, and just can't be thankful enough for having us be a part of this. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Morgan. I'd now like to call up Pastor Leslie Samuel. His church used to be called Metro Park Assembly Church of God on Cooper Avenue in Island. It's still there, but he merged with a church in South Scotch Plains, and now it's the Evangel Church. It's still there, and he still does an amazing job, and they help us with a whole lot of things, and they have people come there for the food pantry. Pastor, would you please say a few words?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and really appreciate the leadership of Mayor McCormick, his staff, the council that's here, We Feed Woodbridge and Chamber of Commerce, to make it possible for this town to be called the best town around. Even though 2020 was a trying year, we saw a lot of generosity and volunteers who already were giving above and beyond gave even more. We started off 2020 with a project just helping out our local Woodbridge school teachers, coordinating with the Woodbridge schools over here, and it was right around that time that the schools were shut down. And we try to figure out, how can we continue to support and enable families in this region. And before we had a lot of grocery delivery options, we started doing something called Boxes of Hope. And just to bring hope to families that were isolated because of COVID. And one of the families that were blessed by that, and I think one of our team members here actually delivered that box of hope to their doorstep. An ER nurse, typically might not be the person that you see coming to a food bank, but they had COVID and they were isolated, and and their family members also had COVID. They had no one else to get them groceries. one of our team members was able to bring a box of groceries to their door. And they were just crying at the door, just couldn't believe that people could be generous in that season. It was a trying time even as he started. Now there's a lot more options. We're grateful that God has opened up those options and such amazing generosity from the town around us to make that possible. This past Thanksgiving, we were able to, along with our location in Scotch Plains, be able to put out around 650 boxes of food for families throughout 3 townships, including Woodbridge, for Thanksgiving. And this past Christmas, we were able to put out around 40 boxes of food for families in Woodbridge. Again, a lot of this is in coordination with the schools. We're grateful for that relationship as well. I know that with your generosity and the efforts of our volunteers and the leadership of this town, then we can continue to express generosity to families in need. Thank you all for your generosity, and thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Pastor. One last person, she's not up here, she's in the audience, but Peggy Foley is the lead volunteer at the St. James Food Pantry and does a wonderful job over there. You want to say anything, Peg? I'll put you on the spot. So the town was able, there's an infusion of grant money came in from the Community Development Block Grant Fund this year because of COVID. It was a special allocation, and we were supposed to use it on things COVID related. So we purchased some freezers and refrigerators and made a deal with the Woodbridge Knights of Columbus, which is on the corner of Route 35 and Main Street, right by the Rio. And it's right across the parking lot from where the St. James Food Pantry is. Because I guess you explained it better than me, but you not always could take donations because you didn't have the space, the cold space, the freezer space to put it. So now with that donation and the Knights contract we have with them, I think it's a whole lot better. You can get more. Am I saying that right? I hope so. Well, come on up. And if I'm not saying it right, please don't correct me on national TV.
As Mayor McCormick said, my name is Peggy Foley, and I run the St. James Food Pantry here in Woodbridge. As speakers have said before me, we would not be able to do what we're doing without the support that we have from Mayor McCormick and Peter Barcelona and all the people that you see standing around me. Obviously, COVID was a big challenge for all of our food pantries. We had an additional 300 families join the food pantry during the pandemic. And because of donations, both food and financial, we have been able to keep the food stocked so that we're able to give it to families. The numbers, as far as how many bags of food we're giving out thousands per month. As Peter mentioned and Mayor McCormick, with contact tracing, when they get notified, we pack up bags of food, and usually Peter delivers them right to the door. When he had the nerve to take a vacation, I got to deliver it to the door. But what Mayor McCormick was referring to is McFoods, Middlesex County Foods. They have food available to stock the food pantries, but not everybody has the availability to go down to East Brunswick to the warehouse to get it. So one of the options that they offered was if we have refrigeration and so on here in town, they would bring it up weekly in their vans, and then the food pantries would just have to go locally. That's a work in progress. We're working on it. But the bottom line is this, that without all the support that we get, we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing. So I want to thank everybody.
Thank you, Peggy. I just want to wrap up by saying thank you to everybody behind me for your involvement in the food effort. We recognized this very early on in the virus that in COVID-19, that this was the critical path. This was what we had to worry about. All the medical things were going to be handled by the medical professionals, but this is where we thought we had the most risk, and it was addressed. And thank you to everybody here. Thank you to everybody watching. Thank you to everybody who gave. We really appreciate it. And as I said earlier, we are the best town around because of the people here and the people watching. So thank you all.